Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into 3 pretty wild predictions for the year 2026. These all come from a recent discussion on Blaze TV, and trust me, they are some big, bold forecasts. So let's get right into it. So, right off the bat, the source for these predictions isn't talking about small changes. The question they're posing is, will the world change forever? They're framing these as potentially world-altering events. With that in mind, let's jump straight to prediction number 1. All right, prediction number 1. This one gets right into some serious geopolitical maneuvering. We're talking about a super high-stakes swap of influence between the world's 2 biggest superpowers. So here's the thinking behind this. It's basically a tit-for-tat scenario. The idea is the U.S. makes a big play to control Venezuela's massive oil reserves. And China, well, they see that as their green light to finally make their long-awaited move on Taiwan, aiming to lock down the world's most advanced microchip industry. And that's the core of it, right there. The quote says it all. This isn't being presented as just a random guess, either. The source says this would be a direct result of what they're calling a long-term paradigm shift in global markets and power. And get this, they even put a potential timeline on it. Another person in the discussion jumped in and pointed specifically to the year 2027 as when China would be totally ready to reclaim Taiwan. That makes the next couple of years, well, pretty darn important to watch. Okay, let's switch gears completely. Prediction number 2 takes us from global politics and launches us straight into the speculative, maybe even the paranormal. And we're not just talking about, a few strange lights in the sky. The idea here is that all this cultural pressure is building and building towards some kind of huge official public announcement, something that could change how we see everything. But here's the really crucial part. It's super specific. It's not just about a government admitting that what they call non-human intelligence, or NHI, is real. Nope. The prediction is that a sitting, elected official is going to go public and claim they've had personal one-on-one communication with them. So you gotta ask, why now? What's the rationale? Well, the argument is that our culture is basically paving the way. You've got the #1 selling movie on Amazon all about disclosure. You've got Steven Spielberg, the king of this stuff, coming out of retirement for another UFO film. All of this, they argue, creates an environment where a bombshell claim like that starts to feel almost inevitable. All right, on to our third and final prediction. This one brings us crashing right back down to earth and focuses on a very specific and frankly dramatic potential event in U.S. politics. This is a really unprecedented forecast. The idea is the forced removal of a currently serving member of the United States Congress, not just from their job, but from the country itself. I mean, just think about that for a second. That would be absolutely wild. So, to even wrap your head around this, you have to know what denaturalization even means. It's not just a political move, it's a legal process. Basically, it means your citizenship gets revoked because there was some kind of fraud when you first applied. The argument is that it was never legally valid to begin with. And this isn't some vague theory at all. The source of material is very, very specific. They explicitly name Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar as the individual at the center of this forecast. So here's the legal argument they lay out step by step. It goes like this. First, they claim her father was a high-ranking official in Somalia's former regime. Second, that he allegedly hid this information to fraudulently get asylum in the U.S. Third, her citizenship was granted because of her father's asylum claim. So the final step in their logic is, if his original claim was fraudulent, then her citizenship doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. The source is really clear in how they're framing this. The argument is presented not as a political attack, but as a straightforward enforcement of existing immigration law, based on what they claim is provable fraud. Okay, we have just walked through 3 incredibly different and incredibly bold predictions. So what's the big picture here? What are the main takeaways we should be thinking about? Well, as you can see, these predictions are all over the map, right? We've gone from international power plays to potential alien contact, and then all the way to an intense domestic political showdown. And here's why this is so interesting. Whether any of these things actually happen or not, these predictions kind of act like a mirror. They reflect very real anxieties and conversations happening right now about huge potential shifts in global power, about what secrets governments might be keeping, and about the very definition of national identity. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Maybe the true value of forecasts like these isn't about whether they get the future right. Maybe it's about what their very existence tells us about the deepest hopes and especially the fears of right now.